Look, I am going to be straight with you in today's broadcast. I am seriously concerned about the radical left and the number of violent events that happened over the past month or so. We're talking about over a dozen Tesla dealerships and cars being vandalized. We're talking about a journalist being murdered at InfoWars, and I've got some information to share with you guys. Another one having just been swatted. We're talking about death threats against Donald J. Trump. Secret Service having to shoot someone right outside of the White House, assassination attempts on the president's life. I mean, this is insane. Oh, and not to mention a Ukrainian hit list, which, by the way, I brought up on my channel when it was published, I believe, over a year ago. I've got a lot to share with you in today's broadcast, and I have to say I am really worried about the direction of our country, and I can't wait to hear some of your comments about where you think that direction is headed. But let's start first with the journalist Jamie White, that was murdered in Austin. Take a look at this. And he is the InfoWars writer, by the way. Austin American Statement. Austin police say InfoWars writer Jamie White possibly killed by car burglars. It goes on. Police said in a statement on Tuesday that Jamie White, who is 36 years old, was found lying on the ground in a parking lot of the apartment complex where he lived with trauma to his body. He was taken to the hospital and pronounced dead at 12:19 a.m. Monday, the department said. The initial investigation shows that White was shot and killed in the parking lot of the apartment complex in which he lived. The statement said the suspects then fled the scene. Detectives believe the suspects were possibly burglarizing White's vehicle when he interrupted them. It goes on to say that they are literally still looking for information regarding the homicide. Now, in other words, they don't have the full story at this time. They are believing at this time that it possibly could be burglary where he came out and got shot. Now, obviously, I am going to kind of not get into speculation on this at that time because, quite frankly, we don't have all the answers. The Austin PD doesn't have all the answers as of yet. But here's what I do know regarding the whole thing, right? Is number one, Alex Jones has come out and said, hey, Jamie White was on a Ukrainian hit list, which, by the way, I talked about back in mid-2024 here on my channel in Restricted Republic. Hopefully you checked it out. But Alex Jones, murdered InfoWars reporter Jamie White, was on a Ukrainian hit list. Now, here is an X post that Jamie White put up back in June 12th of 2024, where he said this: I'm on a Ukrainian enemies list due to my work at InfoWars and with real Alex Jones on the Ukrainian proxy war. The group has compiled this list. The group who compiled this list is tied to the U.S. State Department, USAID, the CIA, and George Soros. Now, that bottom half, I cannot confirm, right? That is what he said regarding it, but I cannot confirm that the list is tied to that. But there you have it. Right? So there is this enemy list. It does exist. I did an entire report on it back on my channel, and I'm going to show you this list right here so you can see it. You can see some people you recognize right off the bat on that. There's also Rand Paul, who is on there, by the way, and Tulsi Gabbard. There's Rand Paul, and then we also have Tulsi Gabbard. In fact, also on this Ukrainian hit list, reportedly for 15 minutes anyway, Elon Musk also made that list. So this is the list that Alex Jones is referencing. Now, on top of that, Alex Jones on his channel has been saying, you know what? This is the fault of the DA, Jose Garza, because he's a George Soros DA. And basically the reason that Alex Jones is blaming him, not because he did the murder specifically, he's not saying that. What he's saying is this DA has allowed criminals to run free on their streets. He is very soft on crime, like your typical George Soros, and he's very upset that Democrat policies are attributing to this. And that is what Alex Jones is saying at this time, but he's also questioning whether or not this could be a Ukrainian hit job disguised as burglars, so to speak. But what's interesting and adds a little bit more twist factor to the story, the whole thing is very disheartening. And for Jamie and his family, I want to say, if you were impacted by that, and if you know him, I am praying for you, and I am so sorry it happened to you, and my heart goes out to you and your family. But after that very sickening, disturbing individual murdered Jamie, this happened. And that is that another InfoWars, another InfoWars host, the other one was a writer, but the InfoWars house got swatted. Here's Chase Greiser. He is the host of Sunday Night on InfoWars. I just got swatted. And in fact, according to the reports, I believe he was swatted not once, but twice. And he had to come out with his hands blazing and guns, pointing at him and his family. Very chilling when you think about it. So why do we have this murder? And mind you, it could very well be the burglary, and the burglary could be what happened, or there could be more to the story. I just don't know. We don't have all the information, right? But either way, it's just crazy that all these attacks are happening to people on the right. And that's not all. There's a lot more going on. In fact, InfoWars, kind of going back to the reporters there, put this video out regarding the events that had just happened, the death of Jamie White and the swatting of InfoWars host Chase Geiser. But in this video, and I'm just going to summarize it versus playing it, he says, you know what? On top of all of that, he had this high-level Army Special Ops come up to him or call him or something. He contacted him somehow, and he told him that there's hit teams out trying to kill Alex Jones and others. And he further says he also had another call from a journalist, that he got a call from a high intelligence official. And this intelligence official says that the death threats against Alex Jones specifically is as high as Donald Trump's level. And he goes on to say that there is an international contract on his head, that this is the information that he is getting from his sources. And he also went on to say that he's not suicidal, to give you an idea of what he said in that video. But here's the thing, right? Again, I really hope none of that, or let me say this, please pray for Alex Jones, pray for the families affected by Jamie White and the other host, Chase Geiser, that got affected by this whole thing. Please keep them in your prayers. I don't know the validity of what Alex Jones is saying regarding this attack on his life and how he is potentially on a high-level international contract and that's on his head, but I fear for his life. He is a highly prominent individual, and he has said a lot of stuff that has come to pass. And I think because of the work that he does, he is naturally and very unfortunately, a target for people who hate him. And that's why I want to encourage you to pray for him. God forbid anything happen to them. But in light of everything that is going on, I am really afraid that the left has become more and more radicalized, and the mainstream media doesn't try to put out the fire. Instead, they're out there on mainstream media, and when you see fires happening behind them from not so peaceful protests, they claim, instead of saying, hey, this is a violent protest, which it was, like these radical BLM and Antifa protests, that they went out and said publicly, no, this is a somewhat peaceful riot. Not so peaceful, but so peaceful. It's mostly a peaceful riot. This isn't trying to put the fires out when your side is getting virulent. This is almost inflaming the fire. And then as a result of all of that, you have to take everything together, because what really makes me question this is just a couple days ago, if not a week ago, there was a man outside of the White House with a gun that the police had to take out. I believe it was the Capitol Police or Secret Service. I don't know which, but they had to take out the guy because it's right at the White House and the guy put Donald Trump's life at risk. It's right there. You can't take that risk, right? Very unfortunate. And then not only that, but you had assassination attempts on Donald Trump's life. You have rumors of people inside the White House, and I still don't know the truth to this, right? A report I did the other day where there was reportedly a gun within feet from Donald J. Trump. I mean, somebody has to ask how something like that got into the White House. And then you have all of this kind of stuff happening, right? We have NewYorkPost.com. Elon Musk says X was knocked offline by a massive cyber attack. And there's that link again to Ukraine. Interesting, right? And in fact, Elon Musk put this up. He says there is still and was and still is a massive cyber attack against X. We get attacked every day, but this was done with a lot of resources. Either a large coordinated group or a country is involved. And I don't think that he's wrong there, because there's a lot more to the story, right? A coordinated attack, you have to think of how big X is. In order to conduct some kind of massive cyber attack, you have to have a mega network. Right? In order to do that, that's why he's claiming country. And that's why I believe there's more to pay attention to. And by the way, there's been a lot of attacks on Teslas and Tesla dealerships. Here's NBC News. Tesla facilities face wave of attacks as Musk delves into politics. Here's a list of some. There have been over a dozen of vandalism against Tesla vehicles, dealerships, or charging stations in the recent weeks, right? And here is some of them. A 40-year-old woman threw a Molotov cocktail at a Cybertruck parked in a dealership in Colorado. Then we have more than half a dozen Tesla charging stations were set on fire in Boston. At a Tesla dealership in Massachusetts, police said that a man spray painted 3 vehicles, marking the second time the dealership was tagged within the last 2 weeks. And then on the West Coast in Oregon, police said last week at least 7 shots were fired at a Tesla dealership. And then on Friday, a man ignited beer bottles and hurled bottles at Tesla charging stations in North Charleston. Why are these acts of vandalism happening all over the country? In fact, Donald Trump they're also facing protest. CNN Business, Tesla facing vandalism and protest amid backlash against Elon Musk. Now, Donald Trump has labeled these attacks as domestic terrorism, because that is what they are. And it seems like a lot of people on the left are really pissed. And you know what the mainstream media is doing? They're not shutting down the rhetoric against Donald Trump and Elon Musk. They are inciting more and more rhetoric, which in my opinion makes them semi-complicit, since they are not really saying, speaking against that. They keep telling people that Donald Trump is the devil and a Nazi king, and so is Elon Musk. It's sick and disturbing. Now, for the rest of this report, and I'm going to share my true insights to what I believe is going on, you have to go to restrictedrepublic.com and use the coupon code Lisa5 to get 5%, to get it for $5 per month. It's a massive discount, less than a cup of coffee. But if you want to hear the rest of this video and my opinion on what I really think is going on, please get to Restricted Republic. I hope to see you there, and I really want to touch base with you there. Anyhow, I love you all. Hope to see you there. I'm Lisa Haven, signing out.